Today, we're finishing up our Amazon FBA series, looking at the state of the industry based off different FBA business sizes when it comes to buying or selling one of these businesses. So today, we're going to be looking at the sub $100,000 level. So this is a big one. So this is where most sellers and most buyers are interacting with each other on a marketplace because this is where the most volume is in terms of quantity of deals. So let's dive into it, what you can do as a buyer and what you can expect as a seller. Hey everyone, my name is Gregory Elfrink. I am the Director of Marketing over at Empire Flippers, where we help people buy and sell online businesses every single day of the week. We are the largest, #1 curated marketplace when it comes to buying and selling online businesses. And when it comes to FBA, as I said in other videos, we are the dominant player. We sell a lot of FBA businesses. We were one of the first brokers to ever sell an FBA business, and we just still to this day sell the most a quantity of FBA businesses, whether it's a $100,000 business, a 7-figure FBA business, and now starting to sell 8-figure FBA businesses. So I say all that not to brag, but just to say, we have quite a bit of data and knowledge on this stuff of what's going on in the marketplace. So let's help you out by looking at sub $100,000 FBA businesses. Now, what I like about sub $100,000 FBA businesses, even though it doesn't make us a lot of money as a broker, 7-figure business is obviously much bigger profit margin for us. I love this segment because this is where everyone kind of gets started. So could be where the seller who just built their first business in the last year and a half can really make a meaningful exit on all their work. And it's where a buyer who may be working that 9 to 5, wanting to quit that corporate grind, can finally tip their toes into an asset that has very lucrative and strong cash flow potential, such as an online business. So in 2020, we sold 33 FBA businesses that were sub $100,000. So the trailing 12-month multiple, the TTM multiple of these businesses is as follows. For a declining business, we have a 26.4x TTM. For a stable business, we have a 30.1x. And for a growing FBA business in the sub 100K pricing tier, you're looking at a 27.7x multiple. So what is interesting here again is the theme of stability being more valuable than growth. Buyers tend to like stability, which it makes more sense in the sub 100K range a little bit to me, just because a growing business in the sub 100K range is either a really small business, right? Like, it's making maybe $1,000, $2,000 a month. So because if you can't really get higher on that. You can, but going too high on the growth will really just push the business into that $100,000 to $250,000 level. So there's not a lot of growing businesses in this range because they'll tend to just move into the higher valuations anyways, because it's a pretty low bar in terms of growth here. So it does make sense that stability might have a higher multiple, simply because there's more of them than the growth businesses, because those growth businesses tend to level up into that higher pricing tier much faster than other pricing tiers would. So that's the TTM multiples. On average, it took right around 42 days to sell these businesses. So if you're a seller, you're looking at a little bit over a month to make between $20,000 to $100,000. That's a pretty solid month. Not life-changing in terms of like dramatic life changes, but that could be what I like to call a good lifestyle accelerator, where you can take that money and invest it wisely and it will grow at an ever and ever faster rate. If you want to know a little bit more about that kind of stuff, you can check out my video on the asset flywheel. I'll link it down below, where I talk about how selling your business can accelerate your wealth dramatically if you understand how to do capital management. So let's look at the actual earnouts in this market, because buyers always want to know, hey, can I get a deal where I don't have to pay all my money up front? And sellers want to know, hey, how can I make sure a buyer doesn't do that because I want all the money up front, right? They're always batting heads on this. So in this pricing tier specifically, this is probably the worst pricing tier when it comes to getting in or out. So out of the 33 businesses we sold, which the only pricing tier where we sold this amount of businesses is the $100,000 to $250,000 level, which weirdly enough was also 33 businesses. Only 4 in the sub $100,000 range actually got an earnout. That means the vast majority of businesses in this range are going to be all cash offers. So sellers, you can be happy to know you don't have to accept an earnout. you most likely are going to get an all cash deal. Now, that doesn't mean just because you list at $100,000, you're going to get $100,000. You might still have to negotiate a little bit on the price, but even then, you don't have to that much because you can probably just wait till an all cash buyer comes and gives you what you want in a lot of cases. Now, of course, there's caveats to everything on that, but if you have a high quality FBA business, you're in a very strong position to get a full sales price offer with minimal negotiations and get that cash in your pocket literally in a little bit over a month. So you're sitting in a pretty situation. Buyers, not so much. But let's say a buyer does get an earnout. What kind of average upfront payment are we seeing? So on those 4 earnouts, we saw a 56.38%. So that is interesting because that is the lowest upfront payment of pretty much any pricing tier for FBA businesses. So while getting an earnout on a $100,000 business is extremely rare, when you do get it, you can finance over 44% of the deal, which is pretty nuts. So it is worth it. Like, say you're a buyer, like let's go into the buyer section. Like, what should buyers do here? If you do want to try to maximize or rather minimize your capital risk, you could just throw out offers to FBA entrepreneurs at the sub 100K level where you do try to get an earnout. And maybe one will say yes, and you have a high chance of financing 44% of the deal through seller financing, which is 0% interest basically, right? That is a great deal. Now, if you do that though, you're probably going to lose out on the highest quality deals because the all cash offers will come in and beat you every time and that kind of earnout structure. There's no reason why a seller would finance 44% of the deal when they could have 100% of the money up front. And in this space in particular, there's a good chance they're going to get 100% up front. So if you're just about getting the greatest deal for the lowest price, you can try to do an earnout, and the financing is pretty good here if you get one. But you will miss out. You will lose a lot of gems, a lot of diamonds to try to dig through the mud for that one business that's going to tell you, yes, I will accept your earnout. And there's a good chance they're accepting a 44% earnout at this pricing tier with it being this competitive. It's not the highest quality business out there, right? There's a reason why they're allowing you to do that. So you should be an experienced FBA entrepreneur if you're going to do and accept an earnout here. If you want to buy an FBA business sub 100K range with an earnout, there's probably something wrong with the business most likely because it is so competitive. So just know that going in, you have to be okay with errors, mistakes, maybe buy a declining business, and hopefully you know how to fix those because otherwise it's very unlikely you're going to get any kind of earnout deal on here because it's just way too competitive. Now, this pricing tier specifically for buyers, this is a great area for people who want to buy a business and flip it. So like I said earlier, there's probably a good reason why growing businesses have a smaller multiple in this pricing tier than say a stable business. And instead of it being about like growth killing a business or whatever, it's more because the 100K business is growing out of that pricing tier so quickly if it truly is growing the business. Like in a month's time, it could go from a 70, 80K business, now it's worth 120, 140K, right? Because of that 12-month average is now shot way up because of all that growth, right? That is not unrealistic. So if you are a business buyer, one of the better strategies with this pricing tier is to flip the business. And even the second pricing tier, and even in the pricing tier one level up in the $100,000 to $250,000 range, like let's say you bought a sub 100K FBA business that was growing for 27x. Now you have a $100,000 to $250,000 FBA business that is growing. You can sell that for 29x, 2x higher than what you bought the business for. And at this pace, it is much easier. I'm not saying it is super easy, but it's much simpler to take a sub $100,000 business all the way up to $100,000 to $250,000 level than it is say a $250,000 500K business to 7 figures, right? It's easier to hit into that pricing tier or even jump over the $250,000 pricing tier within maybe a year and a half with dedication, good work, and a bit of luck, right? So this is a great little area to compete in. If your goal is to flip a business, you buy a business, you optimize it, you scale it a little bit, and in 12 to 18 months, you come back and sell the business. You don't see as many flippers in the FBA space because a lot of them, they do want to scale much, much bigger. But if your motto is to only hold businesses for a short period of time, then buying businesses in the sub 100K level does make quite a bit of sense in terms of multiple growth, right? Like if you got up to a $500,000 above FBA business that you bought for $100,000 and say it was a year and a half, 2 years to get there, you're looking at a giant multiple jump. Like that multiple jump, if you took that $100,000 business to that $250,000 to $500,000 level and you just stabilize the business, like it's not growing or declining, you're looking at a 42x on average. That's huge, right? If you bought the business for 27x for less than $100,000, and now you're selling it between 250 to 500K at a 40x, that's fantastic returns. That is an amazing flip. So sub 100K businesses does offer this opportunity, pretty real opportunity for a savvy entrepreneur that knows how to navigate the Amazon ecosystem to really flip this for a much greater multiple down the road. So let's dive into sub 100K for sellers. So this is a fantastic market for sellers. Like I don't think there is any other pricing tier where you have so much power over the buyer. Yes, you're not making like retirement money when you sell this business, but there is such a strong competition. There are so many buyers in this space. It is unlikely you're not going to get an all cash offer. Now, again, you might negotiate a bit on sales price, but it is very likely you're going to get an all cash offer and you're going to be able to pocket $20,000 to $100,000 in your pocket in a little bit over a month. Like that is pretty awesome for all the hard work you've done. And hopefully that is capital you're deciding to use towards more businesses, right? A lot of entrepreneurs I know, especially in this pricing tier, they tend to have several different projects running at once rather than just one. So hopefully that's you and you are selling your business because you want to focus on one that you think could be a big winner, and you can use that $20,000 to $100,000 to really accelerate it. Now, what's interesting with this level 2 is if you are a seller who is trying to get something to start blowing up, say you want to do my asset flywheel, which I'll leave a link down below, this is actually a pretty good place to start. So in the asset flywheel, the whole like TLDR is you sell a business so that way you can go and buy more businesses that you build up and you sell, and it just becomes this virtuous cycle that's always spinning. So when you build one of these businesses at the $100,000 level, they tend to be in more obscure niches, they can be less competitive, and they might have a price ceiling. So you might not be able to get above, say, a $250,000 valuation, some of these niches you're exploring in Amazon. And that's okay, because you can use these businesses that you are building almost on like an assembly line where you are just building them up so you can build up your ultimate net worth, your war chest, if you will, to go into more competitive niches. So if you're out there wondering, like maybe you haven't started an FBA business and you're thinking like, well, this niche is extremely obscure, there's no way I'm going to get a 7-figure exit on that. That might be the wrong mindset for you, right? You might want to go into that obscure niche because of those reasons exactly. There's less competition. You can probably build that obscure niche into a $100,000 business, maybe even a $200,000 business. Now, it might get a little bit more dodgy at that range, but the whole point of the business is to build up to a point where it's sellable. You can sell it for $100,000, go build more obscure niches. Say you do 2 or 3 of these a year. In 2 years, you can have a $300,000, $500,000 exit in aggregate when you go and sell those sub 100K businesses. Now with that $300,000, $400,000, you can start stepping up because you have the money, the wherewithal, the budget, and the skills now, hopefully, to go and compete in those much more lucrative but much more competitive markets. So this is a really good market for sellers who are trying to cut their teeth and really trying to aggressively grow. And to be honest, I have a few FBA friends that do this, even though they run bigger businesses. They see an obscure niche and they plant that tree into the obscure niche. They start launching those products with the idea, I'm going to sell this in like 2 years and it's going to give me this much ROI that I can then shuffle into my main business to grow it even further. And obscure niches, like they can be fantastic for this because no competition usually, and they're just easier to run because of that. And that's really it on the sub 100K businesses. Like if you're a seller, you are in one of the best places to make sure you actually get a deal done. Again, not like changing income, but if you sell a few of them all at once, it can be, and it can really accelerate your other businesses by putting that capital in those places. If you're a buyer, it's extremely competitive. You probably need to do an all cash offer. Like I said, you can get a very handsome earnout on average, but on average, you're not going to get the earnout. And if you do get an earnout on a sub 100K business, it's probably not going to be the best kind of business, considering how competitive it is, right? There's probably going to be something wrong with it. So if you do an earnout, just make sure you're actually a skilled FBA entrepreneur. And likewise, this is a great market for buyers who are willing to deal with all cash offers if their intent is to grow a business, because you're in an area that can grow very quickly and you only need to grow by about 2 pricing tiers to get into some serious multiple increases when you do go to sell, which gives you a great opportunity to flip businesses in a very, very lucrative fashion. All right, if you want to see more of this data broken down along with everything else, we cover this data and more. We cover the previous last 3 years of data on Amazon FBA and all the other business models we sell on Empire Flippers. So go ahead and download that report with the link below. If you want to see what your business is worth, you can go also use our valuation tool. It uses real sales data to give you an estimate of what your business will be. And if you're ready to sell your business, there is absolutely 0 listing fees to submit your business to our vetting. We will vet it, give you a professional valuation. If you like what we say, you can sell with us. If not, no worries. There's no commitment until you agree to the valuation that we give you. So if you want to do that, right now is the best time I've ever seen to sell any business. I've been with Empire Flippers for 5 years and I have never seen such a good time to sell an online business. If you like this video, you like this content, we're going to be trying to do more videos on here. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.